want to thank you for your willingness to help the Youth Transition Network equip parents of 8 to 22-year-olds with the secrets of influential parenting. I know I'm entering into incredibly personal space. These are your kids, they're not mine. And I honestly believe the teens taught me more than my seminary degree. And so, buckle your belts, because this will be deeply challenging. This series helps parents make a vital transition from raising a child to developing an adult. Without you, it would be impossible for us to help parents across the country make this transition. As part of our team, you will help parents find a more positive and productive way to navigate the preteen and teenage years. This series will help parents set their young people up to succeed when they leave home, both practically and spiritually. Parents who complete the course will have peace when their young people leave home. They won't have the fears that so many parents face when their young people step out into the world. Will they make good decisions? Will they manage their time effectively? Will they make the right friends? Will they do their homework without me? Will they avoid the issues on campus? Will they keep the faith? In short, will they succeed? When parents make the transition from raising a child to developing an adult, conflict is less frequent and severe. The potential of facing serious issues when their young people are in high school drops dramatically. One of the key differences between this and other biblical parenting programs is that this series is based upon face-to-face research with 2,500 young people. The research examined the loss of faith, transitional issues, and the impact of the parent-adolescent relationship on the success of young people. This research is vital for parents to understand. Most parents are unaware of the pitfalls experienced by a majority of young people when they leave home today. As a result, many end up struggling, encountering moral failure, and coming home after suffering hurt, failure, or both.
I loved my youth group. It was awesome.
Well, I started off with a very religious family. Didn't really get involved in youth group that much in high school.
I'm the oldest too, so I really even didn't know what college was like, and I didn't have any older friends.
It terrified me because I'd also heard statistics that 4 out of every 5 high school kids leave the church when they get to college, and that scared me.
Inside, I was panicking. I just left my mom. I just put her on a plane and sent her back to Atlanta, and here I am. And
I was valedictorian at my high school, and so came into college with these expectations that I was going to do very well, and didn't anticipate that I would end up struggling so much.
I didn't do too good. I ended up being on academic probation.
Well, at first my dad had given me a credit card that I was supposed to use just for emergencies. Well, everything ended up being an emergency. You know, I needed that pair of pants, Dad. I needed, those shoes. It was an emergency. Everybody else had them.
I wanted to fit in. That's what it comes down to. I didn't know anyone.
I was just trying to meet people in the dorms and kind of went to my first dorm party.
There's tons of people going down the hall. Hey, we're going to this party. Come on, you want to go? Of course. You don't want to sit in your room by yourself.
And I'd never had alcohol before, and that I knew would be the big thing. Okay, Catherine, you're cool. You're sure of yourself. You're not going to drink. And the first weekend, people were shoving drinks in my face, and I was taking them, and I was like, oh great, I'm not gonna make it. What is this? I can't even say no one time.
In fact, I drank so much that I don't remember half of my experiences.
And woke up the next morning and tied to a hospital bed, not knowing where I was. I drank so much that I could have maybe killed myself, and the doctors didn't know if I did any brain damage or any damage to my body with that amount of alcohol.
Eventually, in all of this mess, I was sexually assaulted. And that throws you down really deep. And you go, God, what am I doing? How did I get in this situation? How did I put myself here?
On the spiritual front, things are no better. 70% of 18 to 22-year-olds leave the church for a season or their entire lives. They leave the church just as they enter one of the most pivotal points in their lives, a period when they select careers, lifestyles, and often their spouse. My qualitative research concluded that there are three main reasons young people struggle, both practically and spiritually, in high school and in the transition to life on their own. Number one, the parent-adolescent relationship. Number two, the youth ministry culture. And third, the lack of preparation for the transition and responsibility of leaving home. Each of these factors stem from parents missing a vital transition from raising a child to developing an adult. These factors result in the failure we saw in the earlier video and the percentage of youth that leave the church.
I haven't had a very good relationship with my dad, even though he's only 2 hours away. I literally have not spoken to him, and he doesn't know where I'm even living.
I'm excited because I'm finally moving out of my house and no parents are there, and I'm just really tired of my parents.
I've heard a lot of kids say, what my parents don't know won't hurt them. And it's such a cliche phrase because we really see it as the truth that, the parents don't really know that this one drink won't hurt me. I hear people saying that all the time, or, they don't know that I'm just gonna experiment, and if they heard, they'd fly off the handle and never let me do anything social. I would actually say, ironically, I would say I'm one of the more conservative students in my group of friends, and my parents are some of the most lenient.
I would love to go up to them and tell them things that I've done without getting yelled at, but it seems every single time I go to them for anything, I get in trouble or something. Like, I remember I got in trouble twice for one thing because I went up and told them about it before it actually happened, before it actually came, the evidence came. So I got in trouble twice, and so from then on I was just...
I had one of my great friends say to me, a worship leader actually, say to me, the art of deception has really made me get along with my parents.
Because when I get in trouble, it just makes me want to rebel even more.
Everyone there was living a double life, so during the service, sure, they'd seem on fire, but once you step out the door, as soon as it was over, they became the other person. They became the crowd.
That's so true at our school. The hypocrisy is crazy. It's through the roof.
It caused me to question my faith. Like, I question, are all Christians like this? Is this what being a Christian is, being fake? Like, going to church, pretending to worship, and then just going out and doing whatever you want?
And they almost brag about it, which is so interesting, that it's not even, they try and keep it hidden from their friends, but it's, who's the worst Christian school student is suddenly the cool thing. And
I'm pretty sure people were brought to church and saw the dual life and wonder, how is this different than how I'm living? All they're doing is just going to a building and saying they're a Christian.
They're more interested in kind of how we bend the rules, and I feel a lot of pressure.
I'd rather be by myself where I wouldn't do anything than rather be with a group who's gonna drag me down.
What's the college freshman dropout rate? 26%. Actually, that's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, you're gone. 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. No offense, you're out of here.
I would stay up till 2, 3 in the morning. I even slept through one of my big midterms.
The fact is, the majority of those students who drop out at that rate have not done anything at all. My research says to prepare.
I really didn't have a game plan going into college. I didn't know I didn't expect what is this going to be. I just knew, all right, there's going to be lots of parties, and people say it's going to be hard.
I hadn't really taken into consideration the amount, like the cost of staying on a college campus.
Mommy and Daddy are gone, and so I can do whatever I want, especially the sheltered ones. I've noticed, especially at a Christian college or even secular too, all the sheltered ones are free now, and so they just go crazy.
As a parent, I was deeply challenged when I stopped and truly listened to young people. I found that much of what they had to say made sense. The reasons I thought young people struggled were not as big a factor as my own inability to transition from raising a child to developing an adult, because major changes take place in the adolescent brain 18 months prior to puberty. The time I spent with young people made it clear to me that I had misunderstood the true nature of influence. I found that influence, rather than being demanded by a well-meaning parent like me, is actually granted to parents by their adolescents. During the research, the young people that really impressed me in terms of the quality of their lives and the strength of their faith were far and few between. But these amazing young people had one thing in common. I found that they had very different relationships with their parents. When I took what I learned from these relationships back to Scripture, I was surprised, uplifted, and challenged in my studies. Even more challenging was actually talking to my own adolescents and discovering that my approach was not truly working. It just appeared to be working on the surface. Changing my approach has yielded amazing results in my young people's lives. In fact, many of their friends frequently say things like, "Why can't my parents be like yours?" As a result of what we have learned through this study, my adolescents now have positive peer pressure to follow us because of what their friends say. The good news is that this can be you and your family. We have seen many parents make these changes with similar results. When adolescents grant their parents the influence in their lives, parents no longer need to fear the outside influences. Today we have become so concerned with our kids' immediate success, we have lost sight of the future and what young people need to be ready to handle when they leave home. Our young people need to be self-managing on every front if they are going to transition well. If we manage their lives for them through our ability to control external motivation tactics or nagging, will they truly be ready to handle all the decisions, priorities, and responsibilities when they leave our homes and head to college, career, or the military? The Secrets of Influential Parenting series will be both challenging and life-changing for parents of 8 to 22-year-olds. This series re-examines some long-held paradigms of parenting and points to a very different approach with adolescents. One of the key reasons for the difference is found in the simple fact that in biblical times, these kids were considered adults. Mary was 14 or 15 when she had Jesus and handled it very maturely. How would your 14-year-old handle an angel and a baby? In the founding days of our country, young people were considered adults much younger than today as well. In fact, in our nation's history, young people aged 17 to 21 started every major missions movement and many of the revivals. If this is the case, we must stop and ask ourselves, has the brain regressed since biblical times and the founding of our country? Or are we parenting differently? I believe it's the latter. As you step into leading this series, do so with anticipation that the experience will be uplifting and deeply challenging. There are some very important things you can do to ensure a successful group. Review all the resources provided for small group leaders online. First, the leader's commitment. You are becoming a partner with us in this outreach to parents of preteens and teens. We count you as part of the team and are committed to supporting you in this process. Please fill out this commitment form and send it to us at the following address. You will receive information about periodic small group leader support calls we will hold to help you and to answer your questions. Next is the planning guide. This will help you understand the timeline and steps for assembling a small group. Promotional materials. You can use these in your church, school, or neighborhood to gather parents for a group. The Leader's Guide. This provides recommended discussion points during the video series, as well as questions and information you'll find helpful as a leader. The implementation guide, designed to help parents implement the steps during this series to develop the shepherd's voice with their family and to literally transform the culture of their home. Resource sheets. These are forms you may find helpful in running your group, such as a group roster, snack sign-up, and childcare options. Please review every session of the video series a week before the session. This will give you time to reflect upon the content and discussion questions. Should you have a question you need answered prior to leading a group, please email us at questions@ytn.org. Now realize that I am not a perfect parent, and you do not need to be either. It is how we handle our failures and the failure of our young people that make all the difference. Be prepared to openly share a challenge you have had recently with one of your young people. This will give others the freedom to do the same. Realize it's okay not to have all the answers. God will have every parent at a different place, and many of the questions will be answered as the series unfolds. Over half the small groups also take advantage of the ability to schedule a Skype video call with me or my wife or one of our online coaches to help answer the hardest questions towards the end of the study. If your group decides they would like to take advantage of this opportunity, have parents write down questions they would like to ask throughout the study and refer to the instructions for hosting a group. Session 4 will produce the deepest questions and most wrestling. When your group is wrestling with the content, know that it's okay. This is done for a reason.
Holding me accountable. I was memorizing scripture, I was praying, and nothing was changing.
If any questions come up along the way, please don't hesitate to contact us at questions@ytn.org, and we'll set a time up to talk with you. We so appreciate your time and willingness to help us equip parents for the adolescent years.